like to get a lot of people on board. That means they would like to get like a lot of people in the team because they feel like, wow, the more people, then the stronger we are. But that's actually not true, because sometimes when you have a lot of people in the team, then it can actually make your brainstorming process and even the whole design thinking cycle very, very long. So sometimes if you already know each other well, then you can just join with like two, three people. That's like a very good number already. And then other than that, is yeah, find people who can complement your skill sets, and then have clear like KPIs for one another. And also the last one is setting the fundamentals itself. So what happened was that there are many startups that I saw, right? They When they first started, they started like everybody contributed, so like everybody was co-founders. But after the event, or after the accelerator, or after the competition, then different people will have like different life priorities, and different people will put in different contribution towards the startup. For example, person A, after the completion, person A already lose interest of the startup, so he only put in 5% of his time for the startup. But person B really have a passion for the cause, so he continued to put in 95%. So when this thing happens, right, then the whole team won't be able to move forward, because the person B that really have passion, he or she won't feel nice, because the rest of the members are not putting in the equal amount of effort. So setting up the fundamentals, making sure that everyone knows how much shares they are taking in this startup, I think this will be a very crucial point for you to bring your idea into reality. Yeah, so team building is actually a very big part that was actually often not take into consideration by many. And after you have a team already, you can actually start your idea, just start it, because sometimes you can assemble your plane even when you're like on the way itself. So after that, I think it's the funding part. So in order to get funding, right, in Malaysia landscape, in order to get funding, you need to have a good pitch. So by having a good pitch is where you get to convince all those organization, governments, or even competition hosts to actually give you money to start your startup. So I will go through some of like the pitching best practices and common mistakes that I've seen, and also that I've learned throughout the few years. So for pitching best practices, there are four main key points. First is having a clean and concise pitch deck, especially now. With Canva, I think everyone's designing skill is getting better and better. I saw like competitions are getting way more competitive, because just how everyone's slides look so nice and you know modern these days. And then the next one is how you present your solution. And then third is strong delivery. And then the last one is keep in mind who you are pitching to. So the first one is clean and concise pitch decks. So I would say that these are some of the example that I found like clean and concise pitch deck, is that as long as your slides looks very clean, like you look at one as long as your eyes feels comfortable, then I think it should be good to go. But do keep in mind that this kind of slides are for hackathon slides, or for startups kind of slides. That means they are very short and they're very simple. They want you to actually read it. But as for case competition style slides, right, they tend to be more like compact, and then make it very, very wordy to make the to make you look like you're very smart. So that's the difference between like a pitch deck and also like a case consulting side. So yeah, having a clean and concise pitch deck, I think this one way you can start by first using Canva first. That means you use the Canva templates. That's for amateur. But after you join a few competitions, right, then you start to like try to screenshot the winners pitch deck. So whenever the winners is presenting, right, you either screenshot it or you screen record it, and then after that, you try to copy a bit. You copy the good ones, then hopefully you get a good pitch deck. And then the second one is the solution presentation. So sometimes you have a very, very great solution, right? But you are not able to actually present it properly. That means the judge didn't get what you're trying to do, or sometimes there are some technical errors. So this is the second trick. So I think some of it, this might be outdated a bit, but having like I think for beginners, if you have like step one, step two, step three of how your apps work, or even like a user flow, like at each steps, what are the users are gonna see, right? It will be quite helpful. And some of it, I think by this time, you all should know now that simple prototype tools like Adobe XD and Figma can quickly, you can use a lot of free templates to actually design some of it. And then the third part is strong delivery. So you have like a good solution already. I think now is where you focus on strong delivery. So strong delivery, what it means is that we are presenting like the pitch, like the pitch, right? You need to think in this way. You need to think that you shouldn't think that the 5 minutes, let's say the pitching time is 5 minutes, and you shouldn't think that that 5 minutes is just for you to present your idea, but you should think that that 5 minutes is what separates you between the current you and the richer you, because if you ace it, if you have a strong delivery and win the competition, and you'll be richer. So you can put that, let's say for the prize money is 2,000, then is the 5 minutes is equivalent to the 2,000 ringgit. So that's how much you should value that 5 minutes itself, and make sure that you have a very strong delivery. So by having like those hooks and all is quite important, or even by having like well practiced pitch, that means you finish on time, you don't have like a lot of like stuttering and all throughout the pitch, will be very good. And then the last one is keep in mind who you are pitching to. This is also another trick that you should focus in order to get funding and also get a good pitch done. So you need to understand what the judges want to hear. And this can be done by just simply asking the organizers, hi organizers, can I know who are the judges, what is their background and so on. Because by knowing the judges background, for example, you can know that the judges is like an academician, then you can present, you can make your slides more like the thesis kind of, or like group assignments kind of slides. That means you talk more about the technology, architecture behind your solution. But if your judge is like it's like a sales guy, then you know what sales guy like to hear, right? Like sales guy like to hear about like very simple stuff. Like they only want to know what is your they only want to look at good user interface and so on. So I think those are some of the things that you should consider. And these are the type of judges. We can normally see, I think, three types of judges when you want to get funding. One is like the professional people. That means people who with their title of like probably a software engineer from like Money Lion or CoinGecko or something. And then the second one is venture capitalists. And then the third one is startup founders itself. So these three types of judges, they all have different types of pitching style. So professionals, I think professional is just very general lah. But venture capitalists, they tend to want to look at the business model part more. They want to make sure that you are able to generate enough money to give back to them. And even so you just need to do more Excel, do more financing, then I think it will be good. And the third one is startup founders. So startup founders is the one that will really focus on how feasible is your idea. They really focus on viable and feasible, because it's just because of their own experience, right? Startup founders, they've been through a lot. They know that what works, what doesn't work. So sometimes if your idea is over idealistic, then they might not be convinced. So just by simply looking at the judge's background, stalk them on LinkedIn, then you can actually know what type of pitches that you can do towards them, yeah, for the competitions. So always remember that the pitching time is not about you. It's actually about the judges and organizers. You need to please them. And then make sure you know the judging criteria. Judging criteria is very important, because I'm not sure if any of you like become a judge before, uh, but when my friend become a judge before, and what I saw is that he actually get like a checklist of like points. So what they do is they just tick the boxes. So that's where judging criteria is very important, because you need to make sure that you hit like all the criteria. Sometimes you just miss, even though your idea is very good, but you just miss like one section. Your that means that like one section is like clothing, because there was one competition before that we didn't know that the competition actually judged like how professional we wear, and all of us like go in with like t-shirts and hoodies, and then we lost marks on that, and it was actually quite funny. Yeah. And then the third one is the what do judges want to hear, and then that links to the previous slide. This links to the previous slide, like knowing who are they. And then gather intelligence is also similar. That means you ask, you go ask people, you go ask people like the judge's friend, like how they normally judge people. And then I think fifth and sixth also is pretty much repeating itself. So with that, by knowing all these criterias, about the judges, about the organizers' mission and vision, then that's where you can actually start to craft your like pitch according to that. So some pitches are tech focused, like some competitions are very very technical. They want you to use like the best technology. They want you to use like the best algorithm. They want you to not bullshit your, have a nice user interface but there's no back end to it. So in that kind of hackathons, then you need to make sure that you write down a lot on like how you make your algorithm works, and like what is the scores of it and so on. And then the third one is corporate focus. So corporate focus tends to want to have a lot of analysis done. That means they want a lot of numbers, like you to justify like how why do you think that this problem is real? Like what is the percentage of people who have unemployment and so on. And then the fourth one is government focus. Government focus is very simple. You just need to make sure you put a lot of like stakeholders. That means you need to put a lot of like partnerships with government agencies, and government people really love that kind of thing. And then fifth one is investor focus. Investors love numbers. So make sure you do a lot of focus on numbers itself, on like business model and so on. And the last one is impact focus. So impact focus is for people who are very impact driven. So for this kind of pictures, make sure you put in a lot of pictures of you doing charity, because it will actually touch the judge's heart more. That means put in pictures and videos. So with these four pitching best practices, your audience will be able to understand your problem and solution clearly, and that's where you can actually uh, win the competition. That means if you don't win the competition, you also shouldn't feel too sad, because it's not about your delivery part. It's just that your problem and solution probably didn't work. So now is the common pitching mistakes that we saw is that there's poor problem explanation. And for example of poor problem explanation is that I'm trying to say that how to say this yeah like this or like you not able to explain what is the problem behind. Yeah, you just know that it's a problem, but you don't know what are the root causes to it. Yeah, so that's an example of like a pitching mistake. And then the second one is missing product highlights. That means you go through a lot of user flow, like, but you make it sounds like it's just another app. You didn't have a lot of like wow factor to it, and that's where it actually make you lose points and even make the judge like not so convinced with your idea. And then the third one is just bad design and poor delivery. That means you didn't put in effort in your slides. I mean, like the slides I'm showing now. You just throw in a lot of like words, boxes. Like you didn't put in a lot of effort to it. Then that actually sometimes cause you to lose points as well. And the fourth one is too much details. So sometimes having too much details can actually burn your time and then make judges lose like attention on what they're actually listening to. And because of that, you cause failure at pitching. So these are some of the example of like good pitches lah. But I think these are all available on YouTube, so you can just a simple Google of good pitches, you will be able to find it. And then after that, right, is what are the elements that you should keep in your pitch deck in order to secure the funding, in order for you to start your startup, right? So there are 8 steps to it. I think this is not like a Bible. It's just like a guideline, a simple guideline. That means you shouldn't follow it all the time, but it's the things that good to have lah. That means you need to have a problem statement, proposed solution, how big is the market opportunity, business model, competition, what are the competitions out there, validation and traction. That means you need to tell why people will actually use your product. And then your team, and then your team, you try to put more of your background to make them believe that you are the right one that can actually bring this idea into reality. And also the last one is like a roadmap. And this is an example. As you know, Airbnb is one of like the startups that actually have the first nice pitch deck. That's why everyone use them as like a guideline. But I think this one is not the original version. The original version is way more simpler than this. But this one was actually like someone beautify it a bit already. So they have like problem opportunity slides. That means in Airbnb they say that price, hotels and no easy way exists. So it's very, very simple. They just put like 3 points, what are the problems to it. And then after that, value proposition and solution. Uh, they write down the features and then also what are the impacts towards it. So, and also like a one liner will be very helpful. So these are like the solution part. And then after that, they can also put in like the features itself. So features are normally pictures of the code or of the product that you just coded. Yeah. So these are examples of features. And then for market, I think does everyone know what is Tem Samsung? I think if you know about it, put a like. If you do know, then this is where you know about Tem Samsung. So Tem Samsung is actually like how you justify how big is your market. So for example, Tem Samsung, this is a good one. Tem Samsung is like you show what is like the total available market out there that you can serve. So for example, let me think of like a business idea. Let me maybe like for example an unemployment, then an app that can help you to find jobs, so just like job street, right? So the total available market for job street is the number of unemployed in the whole wide world. And then after that, serviceable available market, right? So it's more like towards a realistic point of view, because yeah, a Malaysia startup, so probably you can't, your apps can't be used in China or even in US just because of the barrier, right? So, or language barrier. So that's where you can only service the Southeast Asia market. So you change your number from worldwide to Southeast Asia unemployed people. And then the last one is serviceable obtainable market. So what is the most possible market that you can capture? And that would be the Malaysia market itself. So that's how you show the judges like how big is your market size. Yeah, so this one you guys can remember lah, like it's Tem Samsung. So there's if you Google it, there's a lot of templates for you to follow. Yeah. And then the business model part. So business model part, a lot of people have trouble in how to present it, like because business model part sometimes you think, right, it's very hard to how like very hard for you to tell the judges what are the types of revenue that you'll be having, because sometimes it's just too many. So sometimes you need to simplify it, make it very, very simple, like we just make money through this direction, and then it is very helpful. Like you say, they say that they'll have 10.6 million trips, and then with $20 they'll make a revenue of 200 million. So it's a very simple and vague kind of type of thing. That means try not to complicate stuff, because a business model should be very, very clear, and you should be very clear on the numbers and very easy to understand. And talking about business model, right, never put ads ads revenue into your business model. Like sometimes I see a lot of app-based kind of startup, they put that they are one of the source of revenue is advertisement. But if you ask yourself, would you really use an application that keep popping out advertisement, right? So I think most of the time the answer is no. So that's where they actually get attacked by the judges from there. Yeah, so try not to put advertisement as your source of revenue, unless you are some video streaming platform like YouTube or Spotify. And then after that is that you say already your market is very big and all. Then what is your idea to actually go to market? How do you get the customers to use you? Are you using like influencers, or are you using advertisement to actually spam them? So I think this one is just based on your creativity. As long as logical, I think it's fine. So these are, for example, of market adoption. They say that they aim to acquire customers through events and partnerships and so on. Then after that is competitor analysis, how you can actually separate yourself from one another. What makes you so special, right? I think this is also quite important. And one way to present it is the cross kind of type. So you have this cross kind of type that says the benefits here. You put it on the top side and the right side. That means affordable and online transaction is the benefit. And then the opposite one is actually the negative side. So, and then you actually you should always put yourself on the right quadrant, on the top right quadrant. So that means that's what actually makes you different from from other people. And try not to put your competitors in the same quadrant as you unless they are very, very, very good. Yeah. But if not, then try to throw them in other quadrants. Yeah. That's where you can actually separate yourself. So this is one way to actually present your competitor analysis. Another way is actually to have like a pure table, a simple table that actually lists out your competitors, and then the x-axis is actually your features, and then you just put like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, like I have this feature but my competitor don't have. So it's just basically like a table, and that's for like another type of competitor analysis slides. And then next one is financial and key metrics. What is your projections? So projections and all, and then have what are your roadmaps, what are your competitive advantage, milestones, yeah, team. I think all these are quite self-explanatory. Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, after all this, yeah, all these are quite self-explanatory, so I won't go through, but I think the ask might be new to some people. So the ask is something that you will only include it when you are really pitching to an investor. So for for university presentation purposes, or like for competition purposes, you don't include it. But if it's really you want to get like investment, right, that's where you can actually include your ask for the investor. So is to tell the investor, like, you have now listened to my whole pitch, but now I have like a simple request from you, and that request is that I want you to invest in us for around 500,000, and with 500,000 ringgit we'll be able to to do a 12-month financing, and we can reach a 80,000 transactions, and in return we'll give you back we'll generate a revenue of 2 million. So this is a simple way of showing your ask towards like investors to actually make your idea into reality. Yeah, so this one is actually quite useful. And then context slide, appendix, yeah, all these are quite typical. Then after that is pitch delivery. Always start your pitch with like a story. You make it like a story, make it like a very nice kind of flow. That means you don't like suddenly cut into something in between. So have a very clear storyline. So sometimes I think one of the strategy is always start with like a story about someone. So tell them, hi everyone, before we begin, let me tell you a true story. This story is about Ali, who is like a blah blah blah. So because when you tell a story, right, that's why you can actually touch people's heart, or that story can be from yourself as well. Yeah, so always start with like a personal story, and then after that say that this is not just my story, but this story is also from thousands of people all around Malaysia. So that's where you show data and news, newspapers, screenshots, and so on, data. So, and then the third part, after you done that, then you talk about so how can we close the gap between stakeholder A or stakeholder B, or like how can we solve this problem, and then you jump into your solution and features. And then after that you talk about your solutions and features, blah blah blah. Then you'd say you might be wondering, how do we how do we generate money, or how do we sustain ourselves. And so you talk about your business model, and then eventually you talk about the impacts and benefits that you have in this world. So this is like a very simple storyline. And for preparation part, as I say, sometimes the 5 minutes itself worth a lot of money, because it worth like the whole price money itself. So make sure that you do a lot of preparation. You can, maybe you can skip your shower or skip your dinner, but just make sure you do a lot of preparation. If it's an online pitch, make sure you create a script for each slide, so it's very, very smooth. That means you just read the script during your presentation. But I think now, since that competitions or even events or even investor pitchings are going back offline again, so make sure you actually know what you're talking lah. Like, don't need to read from your phone lah. Because when you read from your phone, then I think it will like straight away deduct points lah. So try to memorize it, or even try to practice it so frequently that you actually know what to say at each slides. And then use brief, clear words and short sentences. It's not a word test, so make sure to keep your words very simple, keep your vocabularies very simple, and then try to read in front of the mirror many times, and then just keep practicing with your team. And then for delivery, right, always always overdress better than underdress. That means even though it's just like a small competition, but just make sure you like wear a suit, be super extra for everything, because it's never, it's never wrong to be super extra. So talking about from my experience, right, there was one competition, right, that nobody say anything about like the attire, about the clothing. So what happened was that everyone go there to pitch with with just hoodies and with just t-shirts. But one team, right, one team, they decided to wear suits and ties, and they dress very professionally. And eventually, like, the organizer gave them like a special prize, and it actually pissed like everyone off because they didn't know about it. But that just shows that how important is like always being overdressed is actually very good. And then speak slowly on keywords, and then have very friendly body languages and facial expression. Try to smile more, be more friendly, and then just speak naturally. Yeah, this is another example that I'll skip. I'm trying to skip. Okay. And then after that is also knowing about how long is your pitch itself, because the typical pitch, there's three types of pitch. The first one is like 2 to 3 minutes. That one you need to really speed through. Make sure that you talk about problem and solution only. And then there's like 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes pitch is like the perfect one. They mainly you get to cover like the eight parts that I told you. And then 7 to 10 minutes is where it gets 7 to 10 minutes is normally very, very long. So you can try to include as much details as possible. And the next one is how to handle Q&A, right? In whenever you are in a competition, right? So it goes back to your ideation process. So during the Q&A, if you done your ideation process well, that means you go through your design thinking process well, right? You shouldn't be afraid of the questions, because you already do your research enough. You already do the empathy stage. You already define your problem, and you even done the testing stage already. That means you actually have your solution out and let people test it already. So don't freak out. Sometimes the judges just want to know more about your thought process. So just take your time and say, tell them about your whole ideation, and then say that you already done your market validation and so on. Just justify with the data, then you'll be very good. And then the second part is sometimes, right, people get very defensive on when the judges criticize their idea. So sometimes the judges like criticize a bit only, then they become very defensive. Then it gets situation get very bad lah. Like sometimes when you get very defensive, then it gets very awkward, and sometimes you don't get the marks that you deserve. And then the third one is always linked back to your real life cases and examples, that so it can actually make it more convincing. And also the judges can't validate whether it's true or not, right? Because it's your own experience. So that's where it becomes very useful. And then the fourth one is AA strategy. So sometimes it's just about accepting and also agreeing. So whatever the judges say, just say, wow, that's a very good recommendation, I never thought about it, thank you for suggesting that. And that will actually give you uh, extra marks. So remember these strategies. And then for conclusion wise, in terms of pitching, right? Yeah, your time is limited. Telling your having like a good story, and then have a lot of energy in the pitching. Get rested and work out. Make sure you don't go to the pitch with very heavy eye bags. And then practice a lot with your team, because it's really like a performance. That 5 minutes sometimes it can bring an amount of money of like close to 10,000 ringgit. So it's actually quite worth it lah, to spend that time to practice. Yeah. And then for acing the Q&A, just prepare your questions. Don't cut your appendix, and don't get into those kind of mouse traps. Don't just, if like a judges ask a question that you cannot answer, just say you cannot answer and accept the recommendation. But don't keep like turning around, and then eventually the whole Q&A session is about you trying to defend your idea. So now it's 9 p.m. already. I think I'm gonna take another 5 minutes to cover what are the things that you can join before you graduate, to actually improve your innovation skills, or even make your time, have a good memories of your uni life or something. So the first one is University Startup Challenge. So if you guys know, we used to have Magic in Malaysia, but now after change of government and so on, they rename it. They combine magic and technology park together, and they call it Meranti. And then I don't know whether this program is still ongoing, but just few days just today itself, you see, I saw that they're actually having they're calling University Startup Challenge again. So keep an eye for it, because this is one of the most competitive startup challenge in for Malaysia undergrads. That means a lot of students will join. And then their another part is they are open for students from all backgrounds. That means, even though we are Google Developer Student Club, but they are open for students from all backgrounds. That means you can be from like pharmacy students, or like doctor students, or you're studying business and so on. So this is actually a very good chance for you to learn more about how to start your own startup. So personally, me and my friends took part for 3 years. I think for 3 years we took part all three times, but three times also we lost. So but okay, like it brings a lot of good memories. Yeah, because you get to bond well with other people. So make sure you keep this in your calendar. Don't miss the deadline, because the next few one that I'm gonna share is all, I think the deadline missed already. So the next one is Youth Leadership Academy. So for Youth Leadership Academy, I think you still have another 3 hours to apply, because they are closing today. So if you really want like a social enterprise experience, make sure you go and apply now. The link is in this Instagram itself. So it's like a 12 weeks leadership program that actually teach you. It focus a lot of on empathy itself, because in this program, right, they want you to create social enterprise. So what we mean by social enterprise is means startups that actually have impact. That means they focus on impact. They don't focus on making profits. So because of that, you tend to become more impact driven. You really want to help people, and that's where it actually helps you with the design thinking skills of the front part, the empathy stage, because when you talk to those beneficiaries, sometimes you feel very touched, talking to them. So if you want to apply, you have 3 more hours to apply. You can apply right after this. There's some case interview in order to get into the program. So feel free to just hit me up for the case interview questions if they haven't changed it yet. And then the next one is Axiata University Leadership Development Program. So this program is also a very life-changing program, because not only you can meet I have a lot of friends that go to this camp and they met their life partners, but not me lah. But they met their like life partners, so that's why they call like this program have a lot of like Asiata babies. That means they actually like after the program they get together and they get married, right? Because it's just like it's such a program. That means they in these 2 weeks, right, they cram everything to make you learn everything about businesses, or like innovative skills or even critical skills. And that's it's a very fun program. So I think they haven't started the the application for now, but I think they normally start towards the end of the year during our sem break. And then the last one, this one is also a very good chance for you to apply now, because now it's also the application is also open. So this one is a 5 weeks fellowship program in US, where they teach you about again, they teach you about entrepreneurship skills. So whenever something teach you about entrepreneurship skills, right, they always cover design thinking one. So I don't know what is the reason behind, but design thinking somehow is a very repetitive topic that's being taught in all the workshops. But it's okay lah. Sometimes it's good to relearn and unlearn. So it's fine. Yeah. So this one is quite fun as well. It's all sponsored. Just make sure you have time for it, and then you can go to US. And then the last resources that I would definitely recommend, right, is to register for this group. For this class, this class code is SSE3307. It's called the user experience and user interface and user experience class. Is by Dr. Asrina, if you guys know her. and and the reason why I would say that this class is important, even though a lot of topics inside is very repetitive, that means we already learned before, but it also cover a lot of things that we previously didn't know. Like we never know that designing apps requires so much of like usability heuristics and so on. So it's a very good class for you to like learn back again the basics, and then keep reminding yourself not to skip like the design thinking process. So I think that's all from me. Yeah, I think back to Savin, or yeah, is it for Q&A if there's any yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
yes, thank you, Jada, for sharing your insights. I'm sure many found it informative. Now it's time for our Q&A session. So, participants, please feel free to ask any questions you may have in the Slido link given, and it will be addressed. Okay, it's up now. All right. First, first question. I really want to join a lot of coding activities, but then I'm not good enough at coding. Do you have any tips for me to improve my coding skills? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I think this question, right? It should be fine lah because you have Chat GPT now, right? So you can always ask Chat GPT like how to code stuff. It can actually help you to code front end stuff lah, but not back end. But if you feel like you want to join a lot of coding activities but you're not good enough at coding, it's totally fine. Maybe you can start by joining the non-coding one first. You can join those programs that are focused more on like just UI UX designs, and that will actually helps you to gradually pick up coding skills and eventually become like a programmer or software engineer. So I think that is one way for you to improvise. Yeah, but it's all good lah. Just join programs that doesn't have like a lot of technical stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that answers the question. Next, may I know how to actually sell your ideas to maybe companies?
Mm, Okay, I think selling your ideas to companies, right? This one maybe we need to learn from those Silicon Valley startups. So a lot of reason why people actually drop out from unis to actually start startups is because in Silicon Valley or even in US, there's actually a culture that you start something and then you start, and then after some time you sell it, you let people acquire it, and that's why you make a fortune and you're set for life. So that's where actually the culture came in. So I think the way for you to sell your startup, right, is probably just make sure you get enough traction first. You get enough businesses. Your idea is really something unique, and then only you find those company that are doing something similar and ask if they want to acquire you. I think one of the biggest acquisition recently was the Inside Scoop. So they actually make a fortune out of that. That means they grew their business big enough, and then they get acquired, and then they make, I think, few million from it. Yeah.
Okay, I can agree on that. So, moving on. Next, hi Jada, I am already in my junior year and soon to be fourth year. Am I too late to join the game? If not, what actions or activities would you recommend to do?
Okay. Yeah, I think I mean it's good that you want to start now. So that's a very good thing. And it's never too late because I met a lot of people who just started in their final year itself and they became like they ace it very well, and then eventually they land a very good job and so on. So it's never too late. So I think one way for me to recommend you to kickstart is other than just joining the programs that you see on your Facebook page, taking up the first step to actually sign up for the first competition, for the first program. I think other than that is you can also look out for LinkedIn people. I'm not sure about you guys, but some of us we have our own idols, right, that we want to become. Like for example, wow, this guy damn cool, I want to be like him. So what you can do is you can go stalk them on LinkedIn and see what are the activities that they join, and then you join the same thing as well, and eventually you will become that person. Yeah, so it's not too late.
Okay, I think that's a good strategy to follow. Next, how's the experience in US? How to get such opportunity?
Mm. So for this one I just shared in the slides earlier. So you can just apply for the academic fellowship, or you can apply for the yes exchange program. If you search yes exchange program, they also have this kind of US experience. Or you can even sign up for the healthy competition. I think some of you guys join the healthy competition, and the first prize is either to go US, Switzerland, or I'm not sure if this is true. I forgot already. Or you can join like competitions to go to all these overseas countries. Yeah, something you join, right? I think.
Yeah, finals next week.
Okay, all the best, all the best.
Okay,
Yeah, then maybe you should share
thanks.
like your experience.
Sure. So, moving on. How did you get the information about this competition?
This another one that I got it a lot on my DMs and LinkedIn. So sometimes you just need to start by going to search all these like competitions on your Facebook, and also like keep searching on your Google, and then the all these Facebook ads and all, they will start to target you. So eventually when you scroll your social media, they will start to show you this kind of advertisement about this competition and so on. So this is one way. That means you keep go to train your make your Google history full of competitions, and then keep stalking those competitions on Facebook and Instagram, and that's where you keep getting all these advertisement on competitions. And the second one is be good friends with the MPPs. We be good friends with Junbin here, because Junbin sometimes he have links. Like sometimes the management get competition invites, they'll send it to the MPP, so the MPP will actually be the one that send it to the students. Yeah, so I think these are the two ways to actually get info about competition. Yeah.
Okay, so Junbin, please do your job. Next, what is your future plan and goal?
Future plan and goal, I think as long as I live a long and happy life, I'm good. Yeah, so next.
Yeah. How do you measure the success of your innovation idea progress?
Wow, this one I think you don't need to measure, but people will tell you lah. If you are doing something very good, right, or your idea is very good, people naturally will come to you and say that. Will people naturally will use your product, and people will come to you and say like, thanks for creating this stuff lah. So I think that will be one way. Another one is just have some milestones, or like for example, today you start your startup, you have 10 users, then you target like next month you can get 100 users. So I think that's one way to measure lah. Yeah.
I think results speak for themselves. So,
Mm.
moving on, um, what is the biggest challenge you faced when building a startup, and what can you learn from it?
I think the biggest challenge, right, is just that sometimes we don't know how tough is the operations issues are, because I always thought that starting a coffee business is like a no-brainer, like it's very easy, you just need to make good coffee and people will buy it from you. But eventually when we start like this kind of business, there's always a lot more challenges that we previously thought of. So I think the biggest challenge is that sometimes it's not as easy as what we think. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that answers the question. So, next, how much prize money do you earn from joining the competition?
Yeah, this one is actually not a lot, but I would say that it's not a stable income as well lah. So don't take it as a stable income. Just take it as like durian runto. So I think average out is around three k a month. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Any tips on how to do a good business model of the project?
Okay, I think a good business model is that as long as it really makes sense to you, that means you need to ask yourself, is this something that you will pay? And if yes, then it generally is a good business model. But then so another story is that previously our business model, right, talking back about X the food delivery services, our business model is that for each delivery we are only earning 10 cents to 20 cents. So that makes us even though people are willing to pay for it, but it makes us not a good business model, because it's just the amount is just too little and we cannot make money from it. Yeah.
Okay, next, will you share the slides with us later?
Yeah, can, but I would say that some slides are not created from me myself, so I might remove it. Yeah, but I'll share the one that I created lah. Yeah.
Okay, so next, I would like to ask, how would someone from a total different background, like med student, can start with completely no background? I think basically a student from a different background wants to
Mm.
do a startup.
Okay, but yeah, for this question, right, if you are a medical student, I think you should probably focus on medical because medical students shouldn't spend too much time on other stuff. But if you are other than that, right, if you are other courses, you want to start, I think just don't feel that that is actually a barrier. Just start to join stuff, uh you know without thinking by stepping out of your comfort zone and not taking it as a barrier lah. And that will actually helps because we have a lot of students from different background in the startup industries, so it's totally fine. You can always start your own business. Yeah. And then the last question, right? The preparation tips before the interview for internship. I think there are a few ways to it. First one, just Google. You get to see the questions on Glassdoor. Second is just finding people who are already in that position, and then get a call with them. Buy them like a coffee and all, and then after that about the interview tips and all. So and after that, just have a lot of chicken essence. So before this interview, I normally have a lot of chicken essence to make sure that my brain is at is like very clear lah, and do some meditation, and I think that will be quite helpful. And the last one, are there politics involved? No lah, sadly no. Yeah, so that's all.
Okay, so that's the end of our Q&A session. So uh, thank you for your participation, and also thank you, Jada, for the accurate answers and the informative speech. I'm sure it has helped some of us here and will come in handy, especially in hackathons. So thank you. So participants, now we will have a brief photo session. I invite all participants to turn on your cameras. I'll give you some time to get ready. So come on, guys, just open your cameras for us. Don't be shy. Come on, guys, just open your cameras for us. Be just a short photo session. Yes, I see a few people opening cameras, so I'll give you some time. Few more, guys. Yes, I see a few more. Okay, don't be shy. Just open your cameras for us. Okay, I think that's the most we can get now. So, uh, Jai, are you going to take the picture on
Yeah,
three? Yeah.
I will take the
Okay.
picture. So,
So three. Yeah. So first on three, three, two, one. Okay. Next with the GDSC logo, just like this. Come on, everybody. Okay. So that's all. Uh, Now, thank you everybody, and thank you also for MC. That's a wrap for our ideation talk, and thank you everyone who made this event possible. We hope you find today's session informative and inspiring. The merit slides will be shown in a while, so participants please get ready to scan. And also don't forget to follow us on GDSC UPM for more updates on upcoming events. Have a great day.